This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to the Voice for Fitness Professionals podcast, where I share programming, marketing, and promotion strategies that are easy, enjoyable, even fun, so you can create a business and a life that you love. And my guest today is actually my right arm. Jonathan Kraft is a digital strategist who's contributed well over 1,000 how-to videos to YouTube since 2006. His videos have had more than 10 million views. He and his wife spent 2 years traveling the world from 2009 to 11 on income earned solely from affiliate marketing. He's traveled to more than 40 countries and speaks German and Spanish in addition to English. He is best known for helping small businesses who have something going online already to become medium-sized businesses. He does it by helping them improve their branding, marketing, site structure, search presence, and business strategy. He's worked with online businesses across industries, from professional speakers to investment firms, and from health clinics to online retailers, including a few mentioned below. Flipping 50 is at the top of the list. By demand, right? MattressInsider.com, MobileSleepComponents.com, Anne-Marie Gianni Skincare, or AnneMarieGianni.com, CrispyCancer.com, TheEducationDoctor.com, and there are numerous others, and I'm going to put those all in the show notes, but it is a very impressive list. If you're in the health space, you very likely have heard of some of these people, or you need to, so be sure to check out show notes. You can find Jonathan online at Twitter, Facebook, many other places under the online pseudonym Strive for the number 4 Impact. That's Strive for Impact. Now, you can learn more about what Jonathan can do for your business by visiting www.tmmwebhost.com. Although don't just run right over there, because I've got to line up things for him to do too. So, Jonathan, thanks so much for being here.
Absolutely, happy to be here. And it was cutting out just a little on the intro there, so I'm sure it will all be in the show notes if people didn't hear that at the beginning. So no worries at all. I'm happy to be here, and it's funny to be introed with such accolades. It's cool. Long time involved in this industry.
Exactly. And thanks for mentioning that. So the nature of the business, guys, I'm in a hotel in Mesa, Arizona right now as I speak, not at home in Boulder, Colorado. So there is a little interference. It's not perfect. And yet I'm a big done is better than perfect. And I did not want to wait any longer to have Jonathan on. So we are also going to rapid fire questions at Jonathan and get great answers. And I've already said we have so much to cover here. We may have to have you back, but we want to give you, without putting you on the other side of a fire hose, a lot of great information. So buckle your seatbelt. Are you ready? Jonathan, first question. I mean, you've worked with a lot of companies, self included. Overall, when you jump into a business as the man behind the curtains, where is it that people need the most help when they hire you? And I'm going to ask a backup question right now, which is totally unfair. And is it what you see that is also the need? I mean, are you concurrent with somebody who says, I have this problem, and you can say, yeah, you do have that problem? Or do you say, no, you have this problem?
That's actually a really interesting question. So I think a lot of times the first thing I'll do is review somebody's website and just take a look at it and go, how easy is it for someone to navigate through this website? And obviously, being a person who you start off with this idea, I have this business, I want to serve people in this way, I want to share my message of health and fitness, or whatever the message is that you're trying to share online. And you have this vision of how you want the thing to come together. And oftentimes, because you're sharing your vision, it's not necessarily meeting the person where they are. You're coming from where you are as opposed to meeting them where they are. So one of the things I really work with people initially is just even having this conversation about where is your audience, and when they come to your website, what are they seeing? Are they seeing the thing that is going to serve them with the need that they currently have at the moment, or are they seeing the thing that you want to give them? And there is a place where those two things meet. So oftentimes where I think starting that conversation with people is saying, hey, let's look at what your audience is looking for and the thing that you're offering them and find where those two things meet. And let's organize your site structure around that to make sure that when you're delivering something to them, you're delivering them the thing that they're looking for at the moment that they're looking for it, and giving them an easy way to get through the process of actually making a purchase or signing up on your website.
So good. Yes. I mean, that getting clear about, your vision. There's something that I've been saying at the last couple of conferences that I'm like, I wish I had been saying this for decades because maybe I would have listened. But it's don't let your vision cloud your focus. Thinking, this is what I want to do. This is why I got into this. And yet that's just from, here's what I want to do versus once you decide I'm committed to this customer, really paying attention to what they want, where they are.
And there's this
Love
idea,
that.
of do what you love and the money will follow. And that's true, but there's a lot of caveats to that. Because you can, I mean, a thing I'm often saying to people is if you put up a beautiful signpost, but you do it on the side of a highway where nobody ever drives and nobody ever sees, then your point of putting up the beautiful signpost or the beautiful billboard was kind of pointless, because if nobody ever sees it, I mean, it's beautiful, it's great, it looks great, but if nobody ever sees it, then they don't know what you can offer for them. They don't know the beauty behind what it is that you're offering. So you have to take some time to actually look at it as well and go, yes, this is my passion, this is what I'm excited about, but also let's look and find where the people are already driving so that I can bring them to my message, as opposed to saying, well, everybody should see my message because it's so great. Well, yeah, that's true. But how it actually is in the world a lot of times is you got to put up your billboard on the side of a busy highway to make sure that people are actually going to see it.
Awesome. Great tips. Okay. So if you could just kind of umbrella, what would you diarrhea or vomit out right now to this? What are the biggest errors you see regarding websites?
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, what are the biggest errors you see regarding
So one big
websites?
thing I think is people will build content without having at least a base understanding of SEO. And SEO is this term that means search engine optimization. Google ranks websites on over 200 factors. And I think one of the biggest things that people don't think about is, well, what is this page going to be about? What are the primary words that this page is going to be about, and the topic that this is going to be about? You don't just want to put up a page and say, here's the about statement of our company. Well, okay, but how does your about statement actually serve somebody? So I think one big thing is SEO. Another big thing is that people will think about design before they think about function. So we have this idea of form over function or function over form. And I think really great idea to have a beautiful website. But again, if people don't get through it, if it's beautiful but it doesn't actually sell, then I think, and selling can mean anything. It can mean getting somebody to opt in. It can mean getting somebody the information so that they will download it. It can mean getting somebody to make a purchase. But if you have a beautiful website but it doesn't actually sell, then it's kind of pointless. So actually, I think people doing some user testing and letting 100 people come to your website. There's a thing through Amazon called Mechanical Turk where you can run an actual test and have people come to your website and give you feedback on what it actually looks like and how they're getting through it, is a really good idea. So just making sure that the site functions and isn't just about form, but it's also about function. And making sure the functionality of the site is there as well. When you click on add to cart, does the button actually work, or does it take you somewhere else? Or if you're creating a bundled product, for example, do both products get added to the cart, or are you taking people through kind of a loop and getting them confused in the process of making a purchase? Another thing that I think people don't really think about is, are we going to be publishing content regularly on our site? Are we going to be publishing content regularly on other people's websites? And what does that plan look like? What can I reasonably commit to for publishing content? I think some people will say, well, I want to publish one blog post a week. Okay. Does that fit into your schedule? I want to publish one a day. Okay. Does that fit into your schedule? Do you have your next 100 topics already researched so that you know what you're going to be writing about, so that when you sit down, you actually sit down and do it? Because it's hard to actually just follow through on the plan once you've created the plan. I think a lot of people can put together a plan. A lot of times it's helpful to have somebody else review your plan who has some experience doing it. But I think also committing to it requires scheduling it and structuring it into your day. Because we're all busy, we all have things going on, and I think the demands for our time just, I don't know why, but it just feels like the demands for our time are ever increasing. And so I think structuring it and actually having a plan in place for how you're going to create content, if you're going to create content, what that content's going to look like, and then making sure that that content aligns with something that someone's actually looking for to come to you. And so that's one of the things we help people do as well. I guess yeah.
That is so good. You answered a question that I was about to ask, really. So, which was, how important is SEO, and is SEO dead? Because you hear that
Is
and you
SEO
read
dead?
it so frequently. So you have actually said, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely,
and you've
SEO
said
is
no,
not dead.
right?
Yep.
I mean, because it's one of the first. Okay. So how are we screwing that
I
up?
think the big thing is when people go to write content, they're like, well, I'm really angry about this thing, or I really have strong feelings about this thing. So I'm going to write, as much as I can write about this, and I'm going to post about it. That's great. That's your first draft. Get it all out, write 2,000 words about how angry you are about how they're putting phthalates in every single hair care product that you can buy at your average grocery store, right? If that's what your thing is. And if you write 2,000 words, that's great. But then go back and go, okay, well, if someone was going to come to my page, and there's some really easy, this is a very simple kind of tip you can use, but if you go to Google and type in phthalates, which is PHTHALATES, I think that's spelled right. Number one, you'll get the correct spelling of it because it's a complicated word. But then the other thing that comes out of that is Google will often have if you say, well, why do companies put phthalates in their products? Could be a question, right? Within the next 2 years, 50% of all searches conducted probably will be done via voice search. If you think you've ever gone, hey, Alexa, and done whatever a search is, or hey, Google, something like 50% of all searches in the next 2 to 3 years, at least in the Western hemisphere, probably especially in America, will be done via voice search. So a lot of your article content, a lot of the content that you're creating should be done with that in mind. And so optimizing your content around words that people are actually looking for. So you go to Google, you type in a question, how can I find products that don't have phthalates? And Google will say, people also ask. There's this little section that will come up at the top of the page. People also ask. Those are the kinds of phrases that people are looking for to find the thing that you just wrote about. So look through those questions and dig down into those questions and then go, okay, how can I get these questions into my article? And how can I answer these questions with the content that I've already written? So you repurpose the content that you've already written, not repurpose, but sort of rewrite in a second draft format around the words that people are looking for, the questions that people are looking for. The other place you can look in Google is if you scroll down to the bottom of the page on any given Google search, at the bottom will be a list of related topics and keywords. Very often. It doesn't always happen, but at the bottom of that, you'll see related topics and keywords. So you look at those keywords at the bottom of the page, and these are very rudimentary kind of SEO research tools, but they're available. They're free. You may as well use them when you're writing content, creating content for your site. So I think coming back to the question, the way that people screw it up is by writing content and just posting it and going, okay, well, that's going to rank. Nope, probably not, because there's 100 other people who are angry about phthalates, and they're all writing content too. So you make your content unique by tailoring it to the kinds of questions and the kinds of words that people are looking for when they're looking for the kind of content that you've created.
So good. Love that. And another great resource kind of to go somewhere to do this, answerthepublic.com. You can get the same kind of questions, and what questions, why questions, when questions, all of those things will come up and give you some more ideas to put in there. Love that. Okay. So you've answered the next question. I love you. So how would you fix that fast? All right. You make my job so easy. Okay. What about the next? I know the next part is, we've got the website. We know we've got to, I hope everybody listening has got this. You've got to have a funnel. You've got to have an email. What are the biggest errors that you see made in funnels as far as campaigns that reach out and email customers or would-be customers?
As far as creating content like after the fact, after people have dropped into a campaign, again, I think it's not delivering the thing that they're looking for. And also not creating a follow-up sequence, right? So, okay, I've delivered them the content they opted in for, and now what? And the really interesting thing about a lot of tools that are available online, I mean, you can do it with MailChimp, you can do it with Infusionsoft that really lets you build out campaigns, but is structuring your customer journey, right? So there's this idea in a funnel of you give them a freebie, then you give them a $17 product, then you give them a $49 product, then you give them a $249 product, and then maybe they upgrade to your $1,000 a month coaching program or whatever that is. And so there's a journey that they have to take to get into that kind of a campaign. And I think one of the things people go is, oh, I've got this giveaway that's a freebie, and they're going to get my freebie, and then what? What's your next step? Right? Oh, I'm going to sell them into.
They're going to love me and
they're just going to come back to my website and they're going to buy. No, there's a process there. And I think we have this phrase that we use. It's like trying to take somebody to bed on the first date, right? As opposed to saying, hey, yeah, really creepy, really, really creepy. Instead, let's go have a cup of coffee. Let's go bowling. Hey, do you like bowling? You don't like bowling? Okay, let's go see a movie instead, right? And finding out who your customers are and really finding out what needs they have to try and serve them. Because generally speaking, when you get started, you're going to have this idea, oh, this is how I'm going to serve people. And almost always you end up pivoting slightly or greatly to give the customer exactly what they're looking for. But there's a lot of ways to do that in a sequence where you can follow up with them with a survey and go, hey, what did you like? What didn't you like? What can I do better? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help. And I think most people go into business with the idea of having a service mindset, but then they don't actually do it in the campaigns that they create.
Great tips. Okay. So clearly I have so many more questions, and kind of everything you say always trips one, which is exactly the point, right? We maybe make a relationship start on social media. We hopefully bring them to our website. Then we bring them to our email list. So right there, under any one of those umbrellas, there's numerous questions. So first of all, will you come back?
I would be happy to. Yes, definitely.
Fantastic. Okay. So listeners, we've given you something to think about. So first of all, I would have a conversation with somebody who's in charge of behind the scenes about your SEO. Take a look at your customer journey, go through it blindly, or enlist a group of your ideal customers to go and do that. You've got some homework. So we'll meet back here with a follow-up with Jonathan. Thanks so much for being here. And Fit Pros, if you've gotten a question, you've been inspired, leave your question below the show link at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/podcast. And I would appreciate you leaving a rating in iTunes. It really helps us spread the word. Check out the blog and other podcast episodes at fitnessmarketing.com. And until next time, make a difference.